was a pretty bog standard 3-6-2-5-1 progression in C major. Let's start our chord substitution journey with some of the OG chord substitutions, starting within our key and then expanding outward to secondary dominants. So chords a third apart from each other share many of the same notes, giving them a very similar character and function. This means we can often swap chords of the same family. Perhaps the most famous example of this is the deceptive motion from chord 5 to chord 6, where instead of moving to 1 from chord 5, we deceive the listener by moving to 6. And this same principle of substitution via function can be applied across the entire key. Indeed, we also often see chord 4 and chord 2 swap for each other, and 3-6-2-5-1 progressions like this one often become 1-6-2-5-1 and vice versa. So let's get freaky with our chord progression and use all of these substitutions. Now, still on the same theme of substitution via function, we're now going to take our 2 chord and chromatically alter the third, making it a major chord. And this gives us the OG secondary dominant, the 5 or 5-7 of 5. Because we're moving through the circle of fifths, we can take this principle and apply it to any of the other minor or minor 7th chords in our progression. The 3 minor 7 becomes the 5-7 of 6, the 6 minor 7 becomes the 5-7 of 2, and then we land back on our 2 minor 7 becoming the 5-7 of 5, all through only changing one note. We can mix and match these like this. Or even play both the minor 7th and dominant 7th versions of the chord in succession. Even though these secondary or applied dominants don't technically share the same function as the chords they replace, as they're actually tonicizing the chords they resolve to, hearing them next to each other like this really shows us that using secondary dominants to increase tension locally significantly strengthens the overall pull toward our global tonic. You'll hear this move in a lot of gospel music. Whenever we precede a secondary dominant with a minor or minor 7th chord a fifth above, like with our 6 moving to the 5-7 of 5, we're essentially setting up that secondary dominant with its own 2 chord from its own key. And if we simply move from one secondary dominant to the next, we're doing exactly what we did with our primary dominant when we preceded it with a major 2 chord, or the 5 or 5-7 of 5. Up to now we've expanded tonic and predominant function, but our primary dominant has remained untouched. So, is it possible to substitute dominant family chords? You bet. We can substitute both our primary dominant chords within our key for each other, as here, but this doesn't begin to describe the harmonic possibilities we have in this area. So join me for part 2 of the series, where we will push even further into chromaticism.